I'm gonna show you how to use J.Canto, a 4-4-2 manager that has both possession ball game and counter-attacking ball game. Also, according to YouTube statistics, only a small percentage of people that watch my videos are actually subscribed. If you end up liking this video, consider subscribing. It's free and you can always unsubscribe after. Now enjoy the video. So with this formation now, basically how it came was that it actually had 3 center mid forwards and a defensive mid forward. So what I did obviously is that I switched out that center mid forward for an attacking mid forward and switched him into attacking mid forward position, because what that does is that it really allows for the formation to really gel better. You know, there isn't any holes in the midfield, because technically that is a midfield diamond, but you still need a player up there. I will tell you why I'm using a classic number 10 instead of a whole player or a creative playmaker later down in the video. So yes, let's look at the manager's data, right? The reason why I said that this formation is really good is that it's a 4-4-2, right? But when I changed that to attacking mid forward a while ago, I integrally turned the formation to a 4-3-1-2. And it's basically just like, as you guys can see here, it's basically just like Fernando Santos or even Manuel's formation last year. And the thing that I love about this formation, is that it's possession based on the attacking tactic, and then it is counter-attacking based on the defensive tactic. So basically here, usually you start the game in a possession based simple 1-2. Start it off, short passes, attacking wide, everything is good. You're attacking wide, nice and easy. You have your 2 strikers up top, you have your second striker and you have a center forward. The second striker is basically going to be a whole player. A whole player is a player who runs into spaces. Johan Cruyff has, I think, an 83 heading, so he's very effective for crosses, but don't forget that he can also receive low passes as well, and not the mean, because he has the outside curler and all of those lovely traits. As it relates to his striker, no, you just need a striker that can kick a ball or head a ball properly. Fernando Torres' heading is really good, so that's why I use him. So this formation is basically a cross merchant right there. And when you realize that the game is getting a bit tight, you switch it to defensive tactic. Defensive tactic is counter-attacking. Counter-attacking football that is attacking central now. So you see, when even though this just says attacking zone wide, you can actually attack both central and wide. So what happens is that it's long balls. So what you do is you defend most of the time, making your little passes, you run the back, especially if you're absorbing a lot of pressure and you're leading like 1-0 or 2-1 in an online match. It's the 80th minute or the 60th minute, whatever, and you're just trying to hold possession. All you have to do, just listen to me. All you have to do is defend it out properly with the players that I'm about to tell you, and then just send a long ball forward. It's not long ball spamming, because all he did was the one time, and technically long pass is a long ball going forward. And it is a part of the game, because you see it a lot with Tottenham, you see it a lot with Bayern, you see it a lot with Dortmund, you see it a lot with even Manchester United. Look how many times Pogba send a long ball to Rashford. Are you going to tell me that that's not a part of the game? Are you going to tell me when Marquinhos sends passes to Mbappe for PSG that that's not a part of the game? I'm not saying that you should spam long balls. I'm just telling you that it's a part of the game. Every single time that you're defending in the defensive tactic, your players literally that are up front look for runs. So if you see your player running and you're counter attacking and it's through the middle or on the wide flanks, send the ball over and it will go. More than likely you will have players that are making amazing runs. So back to this now. The players that I basically use, I use an offensive goalkeeper. The reason why I do this is because it's when you have a 4 at the back. It's not like the Gasperini formation that I did, which you guys can also check out. It's not like the Gasperini formation that I did, because the Gasperini formation has 3 center backs around the back, so you can actually use a defensive goalkeeper if you want. You don't have to use an offensive goalkeeper. The reason being for using an offensive goalkeeper here is that sometimes your opponents will actually surpass your 2 center backs around there, because keep in mind your right backs are a little bit, your wing backs are a little bit higher on the pitch. So when they're a bit higher on the pitch, your defenders are left to dead. So once you do a little simple 1-2, they pass your defenders most of the time, especially if you don't really know how to defend. So what that happens now is for your offensive goalkeeper now, which in this case is Iker Casillas, he makes the runs and he runs up towards the ball. And when he does that, he tries to collect the ball before your opponent actually surpasses your defenders. Or right as they surpass the defender, that's him running in and kicking out the ball. So that's basically why I use an offensive goalkeeper. The second player that I basically use is I use Sol Campbell. Sol Campbell, everybody knows Sol Campbell. Soul Camp is a destroyer. The reason why I don't use two build up players or use two destroy, you can't have too much of one thing, so you have to have a good balance. I use a destroyer and an extra frontman. You guys can use a destroyer and a build up player. You guys can use a build up player and an extra frontman. It all depends on what formation or what combination works for you. I use Soul Campbell as a destroyer because he destroys. He's there to make some last ditch tackles, and that's what I need. The extra frontman is, you know, Nathan Ake. I use him one because he's underrated. I made a review on him, so you guys can go check that out as well. And as it relates to that, he's left-footed, so I use him on the left side. Soul Campbell is right-footed, so I use him on the right side. You can use Maldini over there if you want. I personally, I use Ake over Beckenbauer. The reason why I do that is because Beckenbauer, his full potential isn't being realized in centre back. It's better to use him in defensive mid forward or right back. He's really good going forward, so why not use him in a more forward position? Test him out and let me know. So yeah, my wing backs now, I just need two offensive wing backs. It's as simple as that. I use Roberto Carlos and Cafu. The reason being is because this formation is good for crosses and they can cross a ball really good. And Roberto Carlos, I use him for all my set pieces, especially for corners on the right side. On the right side, most of my corners go in, and that's because of Roberto Carlos. So that's why I use him. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, bro. So that's why I use Roberto Carlos. Cafu can cross a ball, but like, even though he has pinpoint crossing and stuff, I really feel like this card, it really isn't that good to me. I don't know, his crossing, it's good sometimes and then it's off the other time. He has pinpoint crossing, but it's not that effective to me. That's just me though. Sometimes the crosses are really off. Like, I'll be in a perfect position to cross and he doesn't make a good cross. My midfield now is just as simple as this. You need a destroyer. You need a destroyer as a defensive mid forward, which leads me to believe that you can actually put Beckenbauer there and you can put Gilberto Silva there, even though Gilberto Silva is not a destroyer. Gilberto Silva is an anchorman, but you can use Fabinho there. I wouldn't advise using Pjanic. Pjanic really isn't that good in the game. I wouldn't advise you guys using Roger there either. You have to use somebody who's sturdy in the midfield. So I use Vera, obviously. Vera's stats are like second to none on, you know, well, second to his iconic moment card, of course, but Vera is just really good, and he's very good going forward as well. That's why if Vera isn't on the best form, I use Beckenbauer, because Beckenbauer can crack long shots, Beckenbauer can intercept, Beckenbauer can do all of the above, so why not use him? And he's good in set pieces as well. I use Vera to take all my headers, so you know, he's very versatile. My center mid now, I use Beckham. The reason why I do that is because this Beckham is the cross specialist Beckham. So what he's going to do is actually he's going to drift wide, and I've actually realized that his crosses over the left side are just as good as the crosses on the right side, and on the other side I've Nevded. So I've literally two excellent crosses of the ball, as well as two persons who can curl the ball excellently, as well as two persons who can take long shots. So it's just the perfect midfield setup. You guys can add in Scholes, you can add in Lampard, you can add in a lot of players, you can add in Iniesta, Xavi. It just all depends on you. I'm using a box-to-box player, which is Nevded. The reason why I can use Nevded and I can use Pogba, I can use Paul Scholes as well. Paul Scholes is an orchestrator, so he will sit deep beside Beckenbauer, thus giving him a bit of freedom to make some runs sometimes. But like, apart from that, no, you know. As I said, Ronaldinho, I'm using the classic 10. Classic 10 is because his passing is really good, and he does not, as like, you can use a whole player there as well, like Lampard or even Cruyff, but the reason being why I use a classic 10 over them is because he doesn't do much running into the box. He stays from outside, draws a lot of attention from the players. It's just like a target man would do in the center forward position, and he uses a bit of skill to either get past the defenders, draw them out, which can then allow him to make passes to the forwards or to the wings, you know, the persons who are actually running or interlapping on the other side of the pitch. He can do that. And then up top I have a goal poacher in Fernando Torres, and I have Cruyff. Cruyff is a whole player. I already explained why I use that. So I just really hope that this formation is really good for you guys. As I said, start off using the attacking tactic and then switch it up. If you're leading, switch it up to defense. If you realize that your opponents are attacking you a lot and you can't break their defense, switch it to defense. That way counters, you just soak up the pressure, send a long ball forward, go and score, and just hold position for the rest of the game. It's just as simple as that. So I really hope that this video was very informative for you guys. Don't forget to drop a like down below. Don't forget to comment down below if you guys are going to use this manager. This is Sharc Gaming, and I'm out.